smartphones, tablets, and other digital devices now an inevitable part of life at home and in school. A middle school principal in suburban Washington says technology has made learning fun and relevant.
It is a natural way to begin to get kids engaged in their learning. They have moved on from just reading textbooks and completing worksheets. It's really about the process of learning. And so technology allows students to be able to access information just in a matter of seconds.
Managing technology in the classroom is important as we, the teachers, attempt to ensure student engagement, address different learning styles of the learners, implement group activities, research, and enhance communication. There are many different ways to manage technology, whether there is one computer, multiple computers, or when handheld or mobile devices like iPads, tablets, laptops, readers, or bring your own device. The key to this process is developing effective strategies that work best, based on the technology source available.
This process starts with lesson planning. A good lesson plan that outlines exactly what you expect the students to accomplish with their device is essential.
It is important to remember to start small, add technical components.
Consider resources and tools that students are familiar with and may have access to outside of the classroom. Take the time to learn and be knowledgeable about the technology and use it when you can. You don't have to know everything about the technology and collaborate with other teachers that have used technology. Make sure you use technology appropriate for the lesson. Plan for student orientation to the lesson and technology. When you plan, make sure there is enough time for the lesson, allow time for problems to occur, and have a backup plan. Ask yourself a couple of questions like how will you assess the students, group the students, determine the group size, and provide feedback to students so they know what they are doing well and what can be
support. A mentor, or find a support group. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
If you need to reserve the computer lab or troubleshoot the technology, do this ahead of the lesson. Preview any research sites you plan to use. Make sure you have enough devices for the lesson. Plan meaningful experiences, incorporate educational games. The students will forget they are learning.
While many of the best practices may be interchangeable, regardless of device, there may be some that are device-specific. For example, 45 your screen, which is the students tilt the screen 45 degrees down while you are talking, giving directions or presenting the lesson. This is specific to laptops.
The teacher can have the students shut the lid to the laptop completely or close it halfway. When allowing your students to use an iPad, other tablets, or mobile devices, the students can lock the screen, but make sure the device is inside at all times.
Arrange student seating in a way that allows you to easily navigate the classroom and walk around and monitor the students' activities. Move around in your classroom. Give your students guidelines.
Give specific time allowance for use of technology. Use a timer to guide time on the computer activity, with a 5-minute warning. It is important to discuss time management strategies, and meeting goals and deadlines. This can be done by having students create a timeline for their project and creating a schedule for groups to use the computer or computers during specified time frames. Teach students self-regulation by outlining clear expectations for technology use during a lesson. Expect every student to practice good digital citizenship. Make sure devices are inside at all times. Set rules and be consistent with these rules. Don't be afraid of the technology.
In today's classroom, students BYOD, which stands for Bring Your Own Device. Teachers have to plan for the students who do not have the option to bring their own device.
For the student that left their device at home, they will have to share a device or plan to use one of the school's devices. When students have the ability to use handheld devices like iPads, tablets, or laptops for group activities, they are more likely to work on this task as much as time permits. This also requires that the students know the expectations of the group. that they are clearly outlined and that everyone has a specific responsibility, and that there is equal contribution. As you are viewing a field trip, you can see that group activities provide an opportunity for students to communicate, work collectively as a group, and create a sense of classroom community.
When creating the groups and activities involved, the teacher can allot a certain amount of time for each group to work on the various phases of the activity. This includes the amount of time each group will have to use the computer. This ensures that each group has had equal time to complete each phase. Students need to also be prepared to know which application they are using to complete the activity, to utilize the time given efficiently.
In many classrooms you will see one-to-one computing where there is one device for one student, to include laptops, iPads, mobile devices, cell phones, e-readers, or BYOD. Many of the best practices that have been mentioned will apply to one-to-one computing. In these programs the students are responsible for their iPads all day,
storing them in lockers when not in use and taking them home on weeknights. Students are expected to show up for school with the iPad fully charged. iPads stayed at school over the weekend, where IT department applying updates and backing up the device.
You are teaching in a classroom with only one computer and 20 or 30 kids. Make sure your classroom is arranged in a way that it is easy to monitor your students in different centers of the room. The monitors should, however, be visible from various places in the classroom. Teachers should be able to see the computer screens when children are working on the internet as part of their project. I really like the red cup policy in case a student has problems or questions on the computer. This cup is simply kept near each computer and placed on the monitor or CPU as needed. Access to computers can be an issue. Use popsicle sticks with the students' names and 2 jars. One jar is labeled not yet, and the other bin there as students go to the computers. They move their sticks from one jar to the other. You can post a schedule for computer time around teaching time. A chart indicating the time frames throughout the week that different groups can visit the computer.
You can create centers and groups that rotated daily, giving each group an opportunity at the computer during each block throughout the week. Provide a sign-up sheet for the computers during free time. If someone was absent, or the computer crashed, or needs more legitimate time on the computer, they could sign up.
Flash drives. They are an excellent way to carry a huge amount of information in a very tiny gadget. They are cost-effective, about $10 for 4 gig, and useful for every student utilizing computer systems. Teachers need to introduce the activity to the whole class at once. Teaching a mini 5-minute lessons that focus on only one aspect, or one element. Do a mini review each morning of the lesson the previous.
It's important for teachers to not become overwhelmed by management issues and blame the technology, but to adhere to management best practices so that the technology is used effectively for teaching and learning. And of course, always make sure you have a backup plan if your technology fails or if the technology lesson flops.
Staff here believes using the best of traditional teaching and technology will develop skills critical to future success.